Hello, welcome to the well. Maria from Bloom and Angela from Grounded Dreamers. All right, let's go ahead and pause and feel into your state of being in this moment. Take a deep breath. And just let your week, your month go, being in the now. Let's go into the reading.
Lots of high vibrations today. I can feel it. We're in the energy of that Leo full moon that just occurred yesterday, and the Leo rules the heart. It stands for the courage of the heart. Having the strength and the courage to be in your heart's truth. And this full moon opposing Aquarius, which is where the sun is now. Leo and Aquarius are in opposite signs of the wheel, and that an Aquarius is the one that's trying to seek sort of a smoothing over between the individual and the collective. It's really just trying to seal it all in. And if we lead with our heart at this time, those things are possible. The first card I pulled is integrity. This is making sure that we are gathering all our parts of our inner being and holding them in our heart space. In this vision, in this picture, the head bows to the heart and the heart buoys the head. They work together. We don't always have to lead with persona, ego, what we know, what we think. We have to always remember the heart is holding us at all times, and leading with that right now will be to our benefit. I pulled love, compassion, self-compassion first, and that will emanate out to others. That's that's that Leo full moon again. And then just in case we didn't get the message, I pulled love twice more. The lovers, I love to use this card as an example for compassion, a compassionate heart. There's different stages of love. There's that sort of 3D, chemistry kind of ego connecting love, which is important. It's a base. And then, we move through different elevations of the vibration of love, always remembering that at the core of us, it is what we are. That's what we are. And so, yes, lead with your heart, find your heart's truth, and lead with that. Then I pulled, in case we're not quite all the way in touch with our heart's truth, I pulled demystifying the darkness. And this is saying, if you don't have a full attunement to your state of love, to being in love, to being in the energy of love, then the back of this card says, my shadow shows me where my love needs to be sent.
Yeah.
So anything that's dark or unseen or mystifying to you, or in your shadow because you placed it there, because you don't want it to come up and be a part of your experience, it's time to go ahead and tap into that and let and send love to it, and then let your heart help to transform that, because it creates a clearing for you, a clearing of that heart energy. Speaking of, we got Thunderbolt, which is a powerful clearing. This is powerful. This could be an outside circumstance that sends a jolt through us, and things fall away rather quickly. This could also be our own energetic thunderbolt that, as we're tapping into our shadow, we create this, loss or falling away of the old energies. We create it because we want to rise from that.
And from our heart's desire.
From our heart's desire. And that is that sort of energetic push. That's the flow that we're seeking to move us forward into transformation. And now we're shifting, I said earlier in the group, this could either be something in your life, like out external, that you want to transform, like a relationship or a living situation or a job. But for most of us, and let's see, not but it's also an inner transformation, because that must occur first in
Mhm.
order for you to move into these external shifts and changes with your integrity, right?
Mhm.
You want to make sure the inner work is done first at all times. And then the last card of this spread is the rebel. So now you're
Mhm.
breaking free, right? This is your
Mhm.
unapologetic self, just
Mhm.
being you and leading your own way,
Mhm.
uh, using that heart, using that love that you've tapped into.
Mhm. Mhm.
Powerful.
Yeah, I love it. And just to bring it back to last week's reading as well, last week's journey moved us through resolving anger and intense emotion, and it ended with the Lover's card.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I
Sort of
love
that.
the way that you help me thread these, because I don't really always remember the readings, but I
Mm,
love the way you remind me of the common thread and the
yeah.
real expansion that's happening here,
Yeah.
in these
Yeah.
readings.
And right, and how it concluded in the Lovers card and opened up into this week's reading of being in integrity with love,
Love,
compassion, and lovers, just like explosion of
color.
love. It's just
I love it.
beautiful. And yeah, and the other piece I was reflecting on is the rebellion against conditioning. Yeah,
Yes.
that, right? Being you, simply being you, is rebelling against conditioning to be something that you're not. And as we're loving and coming out through, that expression of love, authentic love, it really is being a rebel in this world that's so driven by ego. And, so it's just really cool to
And
think.
polarity and
Yeah.
opposition, and sometimes that's good. The contrast is good, but we
Mhm.
don't have to jump in that pool,
Mm.
right? You can just know and notice
Mhm.
the opposition and the contrast, and that sometimes will spark our own natural path forward. And yeah, I
Yeah.
love this rebel card, how he was chained down by his feet and he's breaking the chains. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not
The
playing that
chains,
left.
right? Control and trapping, and we can use polarity for healing, right? So polarity of like opposite ends that creates more conflict, that's destructive. But if we use polarity for healing, I think about the bringing that to the shadow. So if shadow is something I've suppressed about myself and I believe I'm not enough, we can use the anchoring in the higher vibrational state of the opposite of that. So I'm that which is aware of being enough, and offer that to the other end of the polarity of I'm not enough. And we can use polarity that way as well for healing.
And that leads to your integrity, because you're seeing the whole
Yes,
picture.
exactly.
All of your
Yes.
parts
Yes.
they're important. All of your parts are important.
Which was welcoming wellness. Last week you pulled the welcoming wellness card, which was part of the journey as well. That was the first half of the journey. Last week was resolving anger, and it ended in welcoming wellness. So it's welcoming all these parts. And then this week and then it ended with the Lovers card last week, and then this week is integrity, and then a explosion of love. So
All
it's
this
just
love.
all so cool. All right,
Crazy love.
so let's be with this impact and breathe. Ooh, just let it all anchor into your system, and just offer whatever high vibrational mantra, I'm that which is aware of being, to your shadow. Just feel into what that truth would be for you. It could just be, I'm that which is aware of being love. I'm aware of being love, and offering that to the shadow realm. And then declaring a commitment to being in integrity with your authentic self, rebelling against the conditioning. All right, let's do the second half of the reading. See what magic comes through.
Let's see what comes through, because remember, we ended that reading with the transformation into our full self without apology. And that leads right into the next card, or the first card of this spread, is change. Constant. It's constant. And if we don't allow for that transformation, especially from starting with our inner being, we are stagnant, we are stuck, we are on this wheel that's constantly spinning. We're clinging to an outer edge and getting ourselves so dizzy because we're resisting. And in this guidance, we want to rest in the center and just let this is a given. So
Change.
right. And so in order to work with it, we must have our inner alignment, shored up and pretty intact, and that love, because
Mhm.
then that chaos of change, which is always around us,
Mhm.
becomes more of a choice. Like,
Mhm.
okay, there's all these changes, this is happening, that's happening. Do I want to grip onto that one or do
Mhm.
I want to let that one just roll past me, because it might
Mhm.
take too much energy, it might not be where my heart wants me to go.
Mhm.
So important in that transformation to know that the change is always coming, and if we transform from the inside out, we have more power in our own experience, in our own
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
And then I pulled wolf, and this
Mhm.
is, knowing yourself
Instinct.
and trusting yourself enough
Your
to
instincts.
follow your instincts. And those come from your heart. That's your heart's
Mhm.
truth.
Mhm.
Um, I love that, because that's
Mhm.
allowing us to, really, like, the whole vibe of this reading is tap into the love and it will flow you to where you need to go. If you trust it and if you follow it. After the instinct card, I got activation, wind.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
this is that decisive action. And I I do want to note that this could be something in your external world. This could
Mhm.
be, start that project, have that talk in your relationship, make that
Mhm.
move, whatever it is. But this could also be activating a new facet of yourself that is, aligned with your heart, so that you can move into the world, and create,
Yeah.
create a new experience, which of course I pull creativity. This is
Right.
your ultimate self-expression. We move from rebel, which is like, I'm just going to be myself, to, and this is who I am.
Mhm.
Right. And I will, in my creating, creating is expression. That's what
Mhm.
it is, right? It's an expression from who you are in your heart. So I love that that's kind of how this reading is developing, because it's moving us somewhere, and it's
Mhm.
allowing us to um, be and accept our circumstances and be our full self, and then take it somewhere, either in our own self-development or with others or in projects or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then, big surprise, I pulled love.
I know.
Another
Woo.
one. I commit to the
Love
practice.
all around.
I know, it's like, how many more? I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things.
Mhm.
This is important,
Very.
and I think Maria earlier said, and you might want to explain it again, this isn't like a Pollyanna, like, oh, everything's roses and butterflies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. It's not about that. It's about recognizing that it's all happening for us to grow. And in that, even the hard stuff, the adversity, like it's all happening for us, not to us. We're not victims. It's all happening for us to grow. And so that's seeing the good. That's being committed to seeing the good in all of it. That's what we were talking about in the group. It's so important. It isn't Pollyanna, oh, that isn't my vibe, so I'm not going to be there. It's not that. It's all is welcome, and we are with it in integrity, right? And love, and seeing the good that even the hard parts in our life can bring us.
And they do.
And they
The
do.
hard parts will, without fail, if we're in full acceptance, will bring transformation without fail.
Actually, exactly. And actually, when we hold that intention, right, that without fail, I will transform my life through this adversity, blooming through adversity like that allows us to up level through stages of existence, and actually ultimately to unify with love. So that's what it allows for it.
I
So
love it.
powerful.
And then the next card after that, energy of, seeing the good, we pulled change is always good. And that came right under this change card in this spread.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
there's so many parallels here. But
Totally.
and this isn't, again, like Maria said, this is not Pollyanna, everything's good. It really does serve us
Mm,
to transform, to continue
mm,
to transform.
mm.
On the back of this card, I didn't read it in the group,
Oh.
but it says here, it says, actually, the only effective way of changing another person is by changing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, and that person may or may not change, but if you have and really what I want to say is changing a circumstance with another person,
Yeah.
not just change that person like they're going to have a new personality, but it's, shifting your own response to it and letting that come through, you know, with love
Yeah.
and with a loving intent and with your integrity. And if you
Mhm.
approach a situation in a new way, in a changed way,
Mhm.
you will receive a changed response. You'll have a different experience. And then the next one I pulled is surrender. So this is when we have this resistance to the change, right? We have a little resistance and, oh, change is always good. Yeah, I'm not really buying into that. I'm not sure. Well, give into it. Like, let it be part of your flow. Let that change be part of your flow. It says, I can release my need to control. And this is a lot of times that resistance comes up in external situations, but we do it within as well. We hold a lot of resistance within us, and the
Of
surrender,
course.
right? And the just like the heart-led energy and the integrity, the surrender, it begins within.
Absolutely.
With that full acceptance. Now you're going with the flow. Now you're not, swimming against the tide or against the current. You're moving with whatever energy is present, allowing for more flow and more creativity. I got dream time and creation. And this is moving toward your heart's desire. Your heart's desire. And then once you have moved with that energy and created a new version of you, a new way to approach certain situations in your life, a new tangible project, a new relationship, whatever it is you're creating, make sure your heart is open. This is, back to the heart energy again. And you're expressing it and sharing it and connecting with the universe, with others, with that creative spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking about what you were saying about how we can relate with others in ways that can be different for them and for ourselves, right? That changing others. I was thinking about how in our listening, we can change our experience of the other person in how we listen to who they are. And they can be different for us in our listening. It's so powerful. And also, we can also change how we feel listened to by them. So they may listen to us in a certain way that is their experience, but we can, through our own listening, change how we allow how they're listening to who we are be. We really do have that power. And so it all comes back to presencing and integrity, I think, and love and compassion, and just trying to be. And in the center of that change card is that yin yang and that balance. And I was thinking about last week, I was talking about the basics of being, which I used to talk about all the time. And I realized last week too, I said 3 and it's 4. It's body, breath, boundaries, and balance. That's the basics of being. So in the middle of that change card was the balance, right? The yin and the yang. And if we're like, right, we're holding our breath, we're clenching our body, right? We're like, no. But the reality is it's happening. And if we allow it to happen instead of resisting, what we resist persists. If we breathe and we unclench and we allow for flow and balance and we hold space and we can navigate changes masterfully. So it's so true.
Tapping into whatever that energetic flow is, it's so important. And it's an unseen shift that isn't really perceptible to others or on the outside. It's within you,
within you.
And that, what you resist persists, or what you fight, you feed. Step, like let go of it. If you're in a tug of war with yourself or with someone, let go of that rope and find and gather your heart's truth.
And using that polarization in a healing way really helps with this process. If we're resisting something, I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm that which is aware of being in flow. You can bring that energy to the resistance and it helps shift it. So really powerful. So go with the love flow.
Move with the love. Yeah, move with that flow.
I love it. So let's just pause with this, breathe, anchor in integrity, love, these practices we're talking about for navigating being with resistance and letting go, being with change and allowing flow, aligning with the full moon right now, the Leo in full moon. And just anchoring your intention for this week in your heart and offer it up for divine support, divine alignment and divine support. Thank you so much.